Okay. This is Abe Friedtanzer from Awards Buzz, and I'm very excited to be speaking with Patrick Gibson and Sarah Elizabeth Mintz about Good Girl Jane. How are you both doing today?
I'm good. Hi, Abe.
Good, thank you. How's it going, Abe?
Good, it's nice to meet you. I was actually at the premiere of this film at the Village East Cinema, the upstairs theater, back in June 2022, and
My God.
I'm excited that the film is finally coming out after so long. Can you tell me how you're both feeling after such a long journey, which I know is even longer than that?
Well, that's wild that you were there. Thank you for coming to the premiere. That's awesome. So that was 2 years ago. Um, it has been a journey. I mean, Patrick, you'll probably correct me. I don't know if I remember exactly, but I think you were cast in this movie because we shot it in 2020, it premiered in 2022. I think you were cast in the movie in like 2019.
I think so, yeah. That's
Okay.
crazy. Jeez.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
now it's been a few years.
Wow. That's mad. Yeah. And then, I mean, we've had COVID in between then. Um,
Yeah.
that was we shot for 2 weeks and then got shut down because of COVID. Um, so there's been many kind of bumps in the road, but it's so nice to finally just be able to let it out into the world. It's we've had so many like small kind of what felt like small little victories, like coming back after COVID when we were like, this may never happen again, and getting to like reconnect. And it really did feel like everything that could be thrown at this experience to try and halt it or yeah, or put like a hitch in the plans kind of happened. And then testament to I think Sarah and Lauren who were trying to get this film made even before that, um, just like persevered and made it happen at every juncture. And here we are now, finally releasing it.
It is a little surreal and definitely exciting. I mean, the cast and I have been texting back and forth like we can't believe this is actually happening. That's actually coming out now because it's been quite the journey for sure.
Well, how much of this is based on your own life, Sarah, and where did you feel it was important to take some liberties and make changes for the film?
Um, So it's pretty closely inspired by my life. I took quite a bit from my freshman year in high school. Um, it's like a bit truncated, I guess. Like a lot more happened, and there was like a lot more that I couldn't get in there, but I tried to sort of like shove the essence into my experience, and tried to like build this amalgamation of the people and the community that I was in into the few characters that I could tell this story with. So yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's pretty reminiscent of my life at the time, and I don't know. I would say the most interesting thing about telling a story that is my close to my life is like writing it and having something in mind that pulls from that experience and then casting the people and watching it like unfold on set and it becomes like the character in my mind shifts and becomes Patty as Jamie and is no longer this like version of this man that I knew and Rain Spencer as Jane like he's me as Sarah and he's very much Jane now. So it started out so close to my life and then became a, a Jane and Jamie story. Yeah.
Patrick, you seem perfectly pleasant and nice, which is not exactly how I would describe Jamie. Can you
He's
tell me what
not.
you were able to?
Just my Zoom persona. It's really yeah.
Can you tell me what you connected to and what you liked about this not necessarily likable character?
Yeah, it's funny. My mom actually a couple of days ago was on the phone to me and she was like, a friend of mine was like, why do you always play these characters? Like, I'm playing a character now who's quite a prolific serial killer. Not a real life one, but kind of, yeah, a known serial killer on television. And I don't know. maybe I should take a hint because I do seem to get cast as these people. But and not that Jamie's by any stretch was a serial killer, but I think we were talking about it the other day at one of the screenings that I think like the way in for something like this and what was very apparent from Sarah's scripts, and I think like a testament to Sarah's writing is that she doesn't judge the characters that she writes, and she writes them very much from uh, a pretty objective place, which I think is as a human's a very difficult thing to do because I don't think that's our automatic mode. And I think to have the empathy to be able to look at every person in your story um, from their kind of perspective, and for me the thing with Jamie that made me want to play him was that he had this kind of need for love that is very relatable that I think we all have, and yet his like mechanism for getting that was very destructive and kind of very manipulative and things like that. But I think the core of it was very relatable and very human, and I think that made it much easier to play than if it was written, which you find a lot of the time a character can be written with a kind of judgmental eye, and it's hard to play that when someone's just written as a villain. So Sarah made it a lot easier than it could have been, definitely.
And Sarah, I know that you've made short films before, including a proof of concept for this. What was it like working on a narrative feature, and what takeaways do you have from that experience?
Um, I went to film school and I had done some shorts and I'd worked on a lot of sets as a director's assistant, but I had not directed that much. I think the biggest thing that I did was really like prepare to make this movie for quite a long time. And I sort of cast the crew and the producing team and the cast. Well, I would say I cast the crew in a way similarly to that of casting the film. So I was like, who's gonna step into these roles with like all of the heart and passion possible. I was just surrounded by such a beautiful and supportive environment that that's the best, not advice, but it's like that would be the thing that I would hope to do on every project moving forward, and that made it such a like fruitful experience. I learned to do that on the shorts, and then I also learned that through some of the sets that I'd worked on, assisting, just sort of like watching how the best work gets made. And it really is just like a giant team effort and a giant family effort, especially on this. And yeah, I mean, like takes a village.
I saw that you have an interesting project coming up. Can you share anything about that or no?
It's so tricky those moments when it's like right before I can share very much about it, but I'm working on two things right now. I'm adopting a memoir, which again I don't think I can share that much about it, but I am adapting this woman's memoir, and I'm very excited. It's the first time that I've taken on a project that isn't pulled at least somewhat from my life. So that's been an interesting experience. And then I am also I'm directing a movie in Paris that is also loosely inspired by the experiences that I had working as director's assistant. So it's very much about like power dynamics that are present in all types of interpersonal relationships, but specifically between a director and his assistant on this set.
Nice. And Patrick, you're working on a project that is not, I hope, inspired by your own life, which is the young Dexter. What has it been like? I'm not going to try to get any spoilers from you, but what has it been like to step into the shoes of this very famous fictional character?
It's been such a blast. There's been a lot of elements to it that's made it really just challenging and fun. And because Michael's doing the VO, there's been a lot of work to kind of sound like him, and that's been something really fun. I think it's rare that you get the opportunity to do that with like a fictional character. Like often, you'll play like a biography kind of someone. But there's just like this whole wealth of material of stuff that he's already done. So I've just been like absorbing and watching him, and and then it's fun to get to play a serial killer who is not seasoned yet, who's like making mistakes, and like the kind of trope of like being in those awkward years between kind of adolescence and adulthood, coupled with being a budding serial killer, has been very, very fun.
Well, as I said, I'm very happy to see this film coming out, but also, I mean, this is a prize-winning film that premiered at a major film festival 2 years ago, and it took a very long time to come out. What advice would you have as the director and star of a film like this for others, who have their independent films premiering and then sort of not getting a lot of news right away?
This might be like a little bit of a cop out. It's funny because I am getting asked this question kind of a lot recently. Like, what are the challenges that you face as a filmmaker working in an independent space? Like, distribution is changing so much these days. The landscape for distribution, especially for dramas. We were really lucky to win the festival, and I would say, and Tribeca has continued to support the movie, so that's been a huge blessing. This movie took nearly a decade, no, a little more than a decade to to find its audience. And so I guess like the pearl that I've taken through that is just like care a lot. Like I care so much. I've cared this whole time. It would be really kind of psych psychotic making to spend a decade doing it, like pushing a boulder up a hill if it wasn't something that my heart was truly in, or that I was that was genuinely inspiring and life affirming. So make sure that you care, I guess. Don't stop.
Yeah, I
About you,
think that was the thing that was so um enticing about the project just from the start. Was it was clear how much everybody cared about it, and I think that as a commodity is kind of undervalued. I think the more of that that's in things, um it's at least the first ingredient to take you in the right direction, more than money or whatever like that's going to be behind it. It's that is something that you can't cultivate any other way than it just like is a natural thing. And Sarah has such a ability to like bring people to project that and attract like everyone who is ready to give that as well.
wonderful. Well, I'm glad to hear it was such a positive experience. I look forward to more people finding this film and eager to see more about what you're both doing next when all that can be revealed. So thank you both so much.
Thank you, Abe.
Thanks, Abe.
Nice to meet you. Thanks, Caitlin. See you soon.
Thank you. Um,